Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. One thing can be said about Zimbabwe's politicians on both sides of the political divide. They don't seem to care about the reality. They live in their own little bubble where anything they say is possible. They never acknowledge the reality on the ground. They will promise one thing today and be absolutely certain it's going to happen. And when it doesn't, to them, it doesn't matter. To them, it happened. And so they move on to the next thing. Zimbabwe is a failed state. And there are many reasons for it. The number one, of course, the most obvious one, is we have got a corrupt, incompetent, and tyrannical Zanu PF dictatorship that has managed to stay in power for 45 years and counting. The other reason, which is also equally important, is that in those 45 years, the country did have the opportunity to end the Zanu PF dictatorship. Much more so during the 2008 to 2013 GNU. The people of Zimbabwe had risked all to elect the opposition whose number one task was to implement those democratic reforms the nation was dying for. Now 25 years since the MDC CCC leaders have been on the political platform. They failed to implement even one token reform. And you would think they will be now engaged in explaining to people why they have failed. Alas, it's not the case. Their boldness, their arrogance is the exact opposite. They may just as well have delivered everything that the nation wants. Here is Nelson Chamisa in his latest X100 post. This one here, he's boasting. Musachka, musafunduka, tine urongwa nezvikamu zvinotevera nokumwisa mvura. We are confident. Don't worry. We are going to bring about change. The nation, of course, has got every reason to worry. The nation is up to its eyeballs in this corrupt, tyrannical Zanu PF dictatorship. We have every reason to be concerned. He is promising change, and yet he cannot name even one change he has brought about in the last 25 years, including the 5 years he and his MDC friends were in the GNU. We can't keep on repeating the same issue and getting no answers. or pretending we've got the answers. We need to make progress on matters like that. Why is it that after 25 years of Nelson Chamisa and company on the political stage, they failed to deliver even one reform? In one of my latest posting, I got a response on the social media from one of the activists. And his comment is, I personally do not disagree with you on these points about the opposition failing at some point. But I think these points seem to have been said over and over more than enough times. Let's leave the failed opposition leaders and talk a way forward. This view, I've heard it so many times. In fact, on the same posting, another one came with, Nelson is a waste of time. My argument with these individuals has not changed. Then in my view, we cannot afford to ignore the problem. And the problem being, we have failed states. If 2 million people participated in the 2023 elections because they believed Chamisa, blatant lie that he had plugged the vote rigging loopholes, then we cannot ignore it. Nelson may be a waste of time, but as long as he's able to persuade and to con millions of Zimbabweans to participate in flawed elections to give the process legitimacy, we cannot ignore him. We cannot wish that away. He still cons millions of people. They participate, they give the regime legitimacy. That is the problem. Ignoring him is not going to solve that problem, as we know. Zanu PF, I believe, would have been voted out of office in 2013 at the latest, if the MDC guys had implemented the reforms. They did not. Millions of people still believe in the same corrupt, incompetent MDC CCC leaders. And as long as they keep on participating in their millions, they will continue to give Zanu PF legitimacy. And the dictatorship will continue. The argument that this position has been said so many times, we should leave it. Again, is, in my view, a misplaced argument. The great scientist Albert Einstein once said that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I think we can see this in practice in Zimbabwe. We've been participating in flawed elections for the last 45 years, expecting the opposition to win the rigged elections. That has not happened, but we keep on participating. I think even the great scientist himself would have been taken aback that we are not talking here of a few individuals repeating the same thing over and over again. We are talking of the whole nation here. 2 million people participated in 2023 elections, flawed elections. 2 million. And we are not talking of 5 years of rigged elections or a decade of rigged elections. We are talking 45 years of rigged elections. These are large numbers. These are big numbers. Proof that the insanity here is a serious problem. And then along comes somebody and says, oh, you've said this point so many times, it must be enough. Are you telling me that however many times you clearly were doing the counting, this has been said, the warning has been said, this time the people of Zimbabwe have understood it. Chamisa is not going to con millions of people to participate in 2028, for instance, to repeat the same foolishness of 2023, of 2018, etc., etc. Is that what you're telling me? What is it on the ground that makes you believe that this time you will not be able to con these people? What is it that the people themselves have said or done to convince you this time it will not happen? In fact, the evidence are that it will happen. You just don't want it to be said anymore. For one good reason, you don't want Chamisa to be called a liar and a conman. Some people's commitment to Chamisa is they believe him to be a demigod who can do no wrong. And they've put up with the criticism of Chamisa, and they can't bear it. So every time somebody criticizes Chamisa, some of these people will start fuming and frothing. They'll do anything to silence you. What better way than to claim that no, this time we have said it enough, it's not necessary anymore. And yet they cannot prove that it's not going to happen again. We need to really look at this problem with the seriousness and urgency the matter demands. The issue of rigged elections and the issue of people like Chamisa conning millions of people to participate in these flawed elections again and again is a serious matter. And until we resolve it, we are not getting out of this mess. Some people have argued that Chamisa has left politics now, so leave him alone. Well, here he is, making it very clear that he is very much in the ring. He intends to play a role. He intends to convince people that this time his party is going to win and win big. Just as he told the nation in 2023 that CCC was going to win big. And he had absolutely all the confidence that the party would win and prevail. He repeatedly told the people he was preparing his cabinet. Just a few days before voting started, because he was so confident, cocksure, CCC was going to win big.
Makorokoto Zimbabwe, nokuti hakuna munhu anomira kana denga raronga plan. Denga raronga plan, denga harifoiri. Plan yaMwari haifoiri. Ini ndatanga kugadzira cabinet. There is no way we are not going to form a new cabinet. There is no way we are not going to have a celebration. There is no way we are not going to have an inauguration. Let's start preparing for our inauguration. Let's start preparing for our celebration.
My message to the people of Zimbabwe is that Chamisa is a conman. He is a liar, corrupt, incompetent, and he will con the nation to participate in 2028 elections on the basis of yet another lie. After 45 years of rigged elections, I think as a nation we have to wake up to the reality that the insanity of participating in flawed elections for 45 years, expecting a different result, is something that we all should be ashamed of. And our failure to accept that reality is we are going to suffer for it. The punishment for it is the country will continue to sink deeper and deeper into the political and economic hell on earth. Man-made hell on earth, it must be said, because we have failed to resolve it. Zimbabwe is a failed state because we have failed to govern ourselves, because we have failed to have the common sense to say the system has failed. Let's change it. As for my friend was talking of, oh, you have said it enough, we should stop repeating the same issue. The lesson has to be repeated until the nation learns and changes course. To say we should stop repeating the lesson when there is no sign that the people out there have learned is stupid, to say the least. The lesson is repeated so that people do understand it. They don't keep making the same mistake. to count the number of times it has been repeated and think that should be enough is to put the cart before the horse. They are not going to stop the insanity of rigged elections just because this time maybe they've been warned 1,000 times, as contrast to last time they were warned a few hundred times. That is irrelevant. What is relevant here is if the people learned that Chamisa is corrupt, incompetent, a liar, and a conman. And the proof is in the eating. If he is able to con them to participate in 2028, and at the moment the signs are they will be conned to participate, then the lesson must be repeated. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.